Thank you so much for joining. This is webinar number 3 of the series about energy and your fertility. And today's topic is absolutely critical when it comes to your fertility, for your energy, and for your overall health. And that is, we're going to be discussing the foods that we should avoid. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I am Denise Erez. I am a fertility, health, and life coach, a neuroencoding specialist, an acupuncturist, a functional nutritionist, and lovingly known as the Fertility Godmother. And I've dedicated my life to helping women like you feel empowered and confident on their fertility journey. And for over 24 years, I have been blessed to work with women who have felt completely stuck, like they've tried everything, completely overwhelmed. And together, we really created some amazing breakthroughs in all areas of their lives. And I'm here to do the same with you. So before we jump in, I want to remind you that this is not about perfection, or this is about progress. So my goal is to give you clarity and confidence so that you can make those small intentional shifts that truly support your body and your fertility journey. I also want to remind you that this is not medical advice. Okay, you can think of this as like a second opinion and really some options so that your body can thrive. So I want to share a simple definition of food for the purposes of being here with you now. I want you to think of as food is anything that passes your lips that is not water. So you might want to write that down. Food is anything that passes your lips that is not water. So what does that mean? Well, whether it's a solid like broccoli or bread or chips, or it's a liquid like soda or a smoothie or a milkshake, your body has to do the work to separate the elements, pull out what it can to use to nourish your body. And if there's no nourishment there, it needs to neutralize or eliminate those things that it can't. So every bite or sip is either helping your body, nourishing your body, or it's hurting your body and making it really hard for your body to work. I want to invite you to look at food in that way. Are you nourishing your body, or are you making it harder for your body to do its job? Because your body needs that energy so that it can thrive. And if it's really busy trying to neutralize the acidity or fighting toxins, trying to get rid of any chemicals, you're going to have less energy for your fertility, less energy for healing, less energy for growth, less energy in general, right? So remember, every single one of your cells has 2 jobs. It's to produce what your body needs, things like hormones, blood, and enzymes, the fluids that produces those components. And the second job is to reproduce, to make healthy cells. And it needs energy to be able to do that. But it also needs, we talked about, it needs oxygen, nutrients, and the ability to remove waste. And so when we give our bodies, our cells, right, the whole foods, then they're going to thrive. But when we feed them, the cells, I'm saying our body, junk food like chemicals or empty calories, it's really hard on our body and our system, and it's going to struggle. It's cause inflammation and wear us down. You probably already know this, but when we put food in our mouths, you already start to produce more saliva. And what's interesting, I'm going to share it just a little bit differently for you, so hear me out. The saliva is an acid that helps us break down the food. So the breaking down, the digestion starts in the mouth. So it's really important, one, to chew your food properly, but also our tongue sends signals. Believe it or not, our tongue has these signals in it that communicate with our brain to say, oh, this has a lot of nutrients in it, or oh, I need more of this because I'm still hungry, I'm not getting enough nutrients. So it's really important to know that when you're looking at your food, whether it's nourishing food like some spinach or some broccoli, some high quality protein, or if you're eating, donuts or ice cream or popcorn, your tongue actually sends the signal. So it's one of those measurements of overeating, because when we eat that junk food, your body's starving. It doesn't get the nutrients that it needs. So it makes you want more. So for example, if you just pretend, I'm sure everybody here has had a banana, but just pretend you're somebody that ate a banana for the very first time and you really enjoyed it. You liked the sweetness. If you felt really satisfied, most likely you're not going to eat a second banana. Usually you have one. This is the reason why your body sends a signal that it's nourished, because a banana has like 90% of the nutrients that we need. And we need somewhere like around 114 different nutrients in our body in order for it to thrive. But imagine this. Imagine if you're eating a bag of chips. Now, I bet you can't just stop on eating a couple, right? We end up eating the whole bag of chips. And then sometimes you're like, let's be honest, sometimes you're licking and you're trying to get that salt, that last thing, right? And it's because there's no connection, no messaging to our brain to send it like that it got the nourishment that it needed, that our body needs to thrive. There's tons of foods like that. And one of the things is, especially in the United States, is there are tons of chemicals in our food to help keep it last longer and to actually do this, to cut off that connection in our brain, to make us want more. And it's a problem. Now, I'm not saying that this was intentional in the beginning when these food companies, the food industry was, maybe it was, I don't know. I'm not privy to that information, but this is 2025. And we now know that these things in our food that aren't food are really harmful on our body in so many different ways, right? So we really want to make sure that we're trying to have as much whole food as possible, because we want to nourish our body. We want to thrive. We want to create a safe environment to grow family, right? And then we want to continue those habits for our kids because we want them to thrive. And what's really great about where we are right now is there are some shifts in the food industries where they are being called out on this. So, but it is going to take some time. So you can do your job and just really be mindful of what are you putting in your body. I mean, even some waters have more than water in it, right? So read your labels, look at the ingredients. If it doesn't have something you understand what the word is, then maybe you want to question it and not do it. And if you're eating anything that doesn't mold, you need to ask why, because that's a problem, right? So if you're buying any breads or any desserts or even an apple, if it's not rotting at a certain point or getting moldy, we have to figure out the answer why. Why is that? Because of the chemicals that are in it. It needs to be able to break down. I don't know if you've seen, but there's a bunch of people online that are doing this McDonald's study, right? Where they take that hamburger and French fries, they leave it in the paper bag and they put it in their closet. And there's one woman who did it for 20 years. They removed the lettuce. I think they left the pickles, but they remove it, and 20 years, it's still sitting in the closet. Isn't it disgusting? So you have to question, what is it that they're putting in our food? What are we putting in our body? Here's something that people don't realize, right? Our body is constantly working to keep your blood slightly alkaline. So the sweet spot is, if you're familiar with pH, if you remember back in the chemistry days, the pH is, I believe it's 6.8 to 7.4 is the sweet spot. And anything below that is going to be acidic. And if you have an acidic environment, that's where disease is going to be able to thrive and your body isn't going to work. But this is what's really interesting. If you were to drink one soda a day, it can take 32 cups of water in order to neutralize that acid load. Now, come on, some of us are having problem getting 8 cups of water in a day. How are you going to get 32 cups in from one soda? And some of us are drinking 2, 3 sodas or those big gulp things, right? I mean, the sodas are so acidic. A soda is is on the scale of the pH, I think it's 2.4, 2.6, right? So in order for your body to get back up to neutral, to thriving, it's got to work really, really hard to get all of those things out of your system. Right? And when there's not enough nutrients in your body, where's your body going to get it from? It's going to get it from the other organs. So for example, osteoporosis, osteopenia, what is the mineral that our body needs in order to protect and build bone? That's right, it's calcium. Calcium is one of them. There's others as well. But we need calcium to lie down bone. We also use calcium for other things in our whole body as well. But what happens when you have a cup of Coke or whatever, a glass of Coke or soda, and you don't have the right nutrients in your body needs that calcium, then it's going to pull it from your bones, right? It's going to pull it from the organs. And if it's not calcium, if it's another mineral or element, then it's going to pull it from that organ, including our biggest organ, which is our skin, right? Where we get the wrinkles and the age spots. It's all pulling from our skin because our body, again, every cell is prioritizing survival, right? So it's going to pull for whatever it needs in order to get what it needs so that it can thrive. So some of the worst foods that you can eat, okay, so these are some of the biggest offenders, and not in any particular order, but I'm going to give you 10 of them, right? So the first one is cake, donuts, cookies, ice cream. I love ice cream. Chips, microwave popcorn, soda or energy drinks, white breads and cereals, and fast food in general. And what's in common with all of these things? A lot of it is sugar, right? Sugar is a big component of these thieves that are stealing from the nutrients, and also just shutting off our brain to say, okay, I had enough. So this is the problem with sugar. Not only does it increase inflammation, it can spike insulin, and insulin is fine. We need to have it can be our friend, but when it's elevated for too long, then it can cause a problem. Our glucose levels, right? Inflammation, it doesn't allow you to burn fat, causes a lot of hormonal chaos. And then this is another thing that having sugar does. It actually suppresses your immune system for hours after you have it. So there's 3 categories. There's the sugar, then there's processed food. So processed foods are anything that's probably packaged and has a lot of preservatives and other chemicals in it, added sugar, added salt, all the things that really deplete our body from the nutrients that it needs. It burdens our natural detoxification system, accelerates aging, can damage egg and sperm health. And then fried foods and trans fats. So really you want to stay away from seed oils, anything that's fried. Now, if you're cooking at home and you're using like avocado oil to fry in, that's different. But when you go to like a restaurant or a fast food chain, this is really gross, you guys. But what happens is, first of all, it's probably, I don't know what kind of oil it is, but it's not going to be an avocado oil that can handle those high temperatures. Sometimes it's like that Crisco, and Crisco doesn't even melt until it's over 200 degrees. Imagine putting that in your body. But anyways, what the problem with like frying at fast food restaurants is they leave that oil. They don't change the oil out. And so that oil has so many free radicals, which are things that damage our cells. It's really, really unhealthy. So if you are going to fry foods, I would recommend most of the time doing it at home and using like an avocado oil, which is a great oil, and it can burn at a high intensity, because those other oils are just going to cause oxidative stress, which just means it's damaging your cells, it's aging you, right? And all those types of things, it damages hormone production. So as we were talking about chips earlier, if you were to have 2% of your calories from trans fats, so I say like a bag of chips, so 2% of your calories from trans fats, say you're having a bag of chips, it decreases your fertility by 72%. That bag of chips can decrease your fertility by 72%. And that's just a bag of chips. So we're talking about, how are you eating on a regular basis? How are you filling your body with things that clog your body, or are you filling your body with things that are nourishing your body? So I know that this maybe can feel a little bit overwhelming. I'm not saying that you have to cut out, like ice cream would be one of my favorites. I just had it the other day, but it's really about having it in moderation, right? And then balancing your body out. There's certain things you probably cut out forever, in my opinion, but some people really enjoy them. I share this story a lot, but one of my clients, we were getting ready to do the cleanse, and she kept delaying it because she didn't want to give up her Coke for the week. She really, really enjoyed the Coke. So she got down to one of those little tiny cans of Cokes. Eventually she got rid of it and has it more sparingly. But really it's addicting. Some of these things are hard to get rid of. But even some of the things are just really part of our culture as enjoyable. So I want to invite you to, just in moderation, which means sparingly, because I know moderation can mean different to everybody, but really, on special occasion, like a birthday, or, maybe we have to be careful around the holidays because there's too many back-to-back things where you can give yourself that excuse. But really just challenge yourself. What are your goals? How do you want to feel? And in the beginning, it may be hard. And that's why I love doing a cleanse with my clients, because it really helps move that needle further faster and helps them really get going and eliminating those toxins, getting rid of the sugar or minimizing the sugar as much as possible, because it makes a huge difference. So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Again, your fertility journey is so much more than just avoiding all these foods. Really, it's about creating a lifestyle that supports your body, your mind, and your heart. So if you're ready to take this work deeper, I'd love to invite you to join me for a free fertility connection call with me, where we'll talk one-on-one about your unique journey and create a plan that feels right and feels aligned for you.